What if I told you that Ferrari has designed a car so extreme that the FIA had to stop them before the season even started? What is it about SF26 that makes regulators cringe? Let's unravel the most controversial design of the year. Subscribe to continue uploading more of this type of content now, if we continue. Ferrari has hit the table that has completely shaken Formula One before the official races even begin. The new SF26 is not just another car on the grid. It is the symbol of an unleashed ambition, of a total change of philosophy within Maranello. And most shocking thing of all is that this car has been able to set off alarm bells within the International Automobile Federation itself. But what is so special about this car? To understand it, you have to start with the conceptual approach. Ferrari has broken with its previous schemes. While other teams have followed an evolutionary line based on the consolidation of past ideas, the Prancing Horse engineers have opted for an almost aggressive reinterpretation of the current technical regulations. It's not about adding incremental improvements, it's about stretching the regulation to its breaking point. Firstly, the SF26 incorporates a double pushrod solution, both on the front and rear axle. This had not been seen in this hybrid generation of single-seaters and responds to a clear challenge to manage with greater precision the new lighter tires introduced for 2026. But is not just a question of suspensions. This architecture also reduces weight in key points and allows greater sensitivity of the chassis to changes in aerodynamic load, which provides finer control in fast and medium corners. The direct consequence is a more docile and predictable car for the driver, especially in extreme situations. But the real heart of the debate is on the floor of SF26. Ferrari has fully exploited the famous permitted triangle in the regulations of this area. This legal opening, designed to give minimal freedom to the teams, has been converted by Italian engineers into an almost illegal aerodynamic tunnel, but technically within the regulations. This solution dramatically increases the ground effect, allowing greater suction of the car to the asphalt without the need for an extremely low configuration that penalizes tire wear or the absorption capacity of potholes. Added to this is a radical evolution in the side pods. The new SF26 pontoons are wider and more voluminous in their specification, but that is not the most notable thing. What has caught the attention of the paddock is the implementation of a Cobra vane, an aerodynamic fin placed on the edge of the floor that directs the flow to the rear areas in a cleaner and more orderly manner. This part seems trivial, but it is designed with such precision that it maximizes the interaction between the air channel from the front wing and that generated under the car. This synergy not only increases the overall downforce, but also reduces the car's sensitivity to so-called dirty air, a nightmare for any team in traffic conditions. And if that weren't enough, the triangular air box has been optimized to channel even more clean airflow to the rear, just above the power unit and before the spoiler. This detail, which seems minor, allows for better feeding of the diffuser and improving the performance of the rear wing without having to increase its size or angle of attack, which would be penalized by greater drag. This entire aerodynamic and structural package is integrated under a philosophy that Ferrari has called an evolutionary platform. They are not looking to create a winning car from the first race, but rather a foundation that allows them to constantly update without compromising the overall architecture of the vehicle. This long-term thinking has been key to understanding why the SF26 seen at Fiorano or Barcelona does not even come close to representing its ultimate potential. The car shown to the world was deliberately simplified, basic flooring, domesticated bodywork, and oversized cooling. Because Ferrari is playing long-term, hiding its true cards for when the official tests, and even more so, the championship begin. All of this has caused many in the paddock to start looking at Ferrari not as a contender, but as a regulatory threat. Because what they have presented is not just a fast car, is a new way of understanding the technical regulations. And when a team goes that far in interpreting the rules, the FIA is forced to intervene, even if it has not yet declared any direct illegality. The magnitude of this design has forced the Federation to open a deep technical analysis process. Not because we have detected cheating, but because we fear that this design philosophy, if extended, will unbalance the season or generate an unfair technological race. A legal loophole today can become a scandal tomorrow, and the FIA wants to prevent it before the SF26 becomes the pattern to follow. Ferrari has released its first major technical report of the year, not on the track, but on the drawing board. And with this, he has forced the rest of the grid and the highest regulator to play by his rules. Or at least to try to stop them before it's too late. The FIA's reaction did not take long to arrive, but the most interesting thing was not its speed, but its tone. There were no public statements, there were no official statements. There was silence. And in Formula One, when the FIA remains silent in the face of a technical innovation, what it is actually doing is buying time. Time to understand to what extent Ferrari has stepped on an invisible border, the one that separates genius from regulatory trap. What Maranello has done with the SF26 is so radical, so intelligent, and so potentially disruptive that there are no similar recent precedents. We are facing what engineers and paddock technicians have begun to call a limit car. Is not an illegal car. No, is a car that respects the regulations letter by letter, but it does so in a way that no one else dared to imagine. And that puts the FIA on the ropes. Because if such a design is formally approved without restrictions, then any other team could and would want to copy it. What is at stake here is not just a championship, is the technical stability of an entire season. That is why the Federation has initiated an internal scrutiny process. They have not said this is illegal. They have said something much more worrying. We need more time to analyze it. These types of investigations are usually a silent prelude to something bigger, a possible technical directive issued mid-season to reinterpret a loophole in the regulations. And that, in Formula One, can completely change the competitive balance. It wouldn't be the first time it happens. In 2020, Mercedes' famous DS revolutionized practice sessions until the FIA banned it at the end of the year. In 2009, the Braun GP double diffuser won championships before being banned. Now, Ferrari seems to have done something similar, but with a more comprehensive, less obvious approach. And for that reason, more dangerous, the FIA faces a technical and political dilemma. If they allow the SF26 concept without objection, they will set a precedent that will enable increasingly aggressive interpretations by other teams. If they veto it now, they will risk being accused of bias, of holding back innovation for fear of dominance that hasn't even begun yet. It is a situation with no clear way out. And this is where a second level of analysis comes into play. Ferrari's masterstroke has not only been technical, but also strategic. Because the SF26 that they showed to the world, that car that caused so much commotion in Fiorano and in the Barcelona tests, is not the final car. It's a deliberately simplified, tamed, A-spec version. A test model to validate key concepts of architecture, cooling, weight, and reliability. A smokescreen. The real innovations, the most extreme floor, the compressed bodywork, the definitive shapes of the diffusers, are being reserved for the opportune moment. It's a classic technical chess strategy. Force the opponent to move first, hide the most powerful pieces until they can no longer be countered. Ferrari has turned its car into a political weapon. And that beyond the track is where Formula One is really played. Rival teams are worried. They don't say it publicly, but they leak it in the hallways. Mercedes and McLaren engineers have already requested clarification from the FIA on some gray areas of the regulations, particularly regarding the use of mobile aerodynamic elements that could be classified as active aero. This silent pressure seeks for the Federation to intervene before the competitive damage is irreversible. And in the midst of this technical storm, Ferrari maintains silence. They haven't flinched. Frederic Vasseur has made it clear the car is within the regulations and the FIA knows it. A calculated, sharp phrase, because what it implies is even more powerful. If they stop us, they will be slowing the legal advance of innovation. This is the essence of what is called a strategic loophole in F1. It is not an error in the regulations. It is a blind zone that one team has illuminated first. A crack that can become a highway if no one closes it. And when that happens, the FIA must act. But the later you do it, the deeper the impact will be. And Ferrari knows it. That's why they're ahead of everyone. That's why this car makes those who see it tremble and those who regulate it. So leave your comment. We want to know your point of view. We want to know if you are on the side of unlimited engineering or regulated fair play. Subscribe to continue uploading more of that content. Now you really think about all this.